Hello and welcome to Let's Play F1 2013. So you might ask why I'm playing 7 years old Formula 1 game. The reason is that this is the last game that had V8 engines. In 2014 Formula 1 switched to V6 engines, hybrid engines, and I'm still not used to the sound of those cars. They sound like a lawnmowers. So yeah, really like that. Well, you can play these old games that had the old engines. Of course, you can play even older games that had V10. But anyway, and the second reason is that this game also has some nice classic content. So what I'm starting here is doing some laps at Imola using Ayrton Senna's Lotus from was it 1986? I'm right. I obviously wasn't born when these cars raced, but you know, these are classics. I have watched some season reviews and highlights, so I know this era is classic. Not even sure. Was this before or after the turbo era? Okay, it says Turbo Renault, so this was before they were banned. So yeah, cool. And obviously there are other tracks as well, not many, only 4: Branch Hatch, Estoril and Jerez, besides Imola. But yeah, I'm gonna start with Imola. I already did a couple of laps in Assetto Corsa, so no need to learn the track, although this uses the old layout, so there's the last chicane, it's still there. I don't know, was it already created renovated in 2013? I'm not sure, but yeah, this is like what Imola used to look in 2006 when Formula 1 last raced here, and of course this year they will race again the 1st of November, hopefully. Okay, so let's start doing some hot laps. And I have, for the realism's sakes, I have disabled OSD, so no graphics on the screen. And I already did one lap, so that's my coast car, I presume. Let's try to overtake it. So yeah, this looks great. I obviously had this game earlier, but my old PC wouldn't run it very well. At least I couldn't capture it, even with low settings. So only now I can actually play this game using high quality settings and 2560 and 1440 aspect ratio, if you know what I'm meaning. I don't know if it's like 1.5K. It's not 2K, is it? Not sure. Oh, it might be 2K. Then there's 4K. So yeah, I'm using 2K resolution here. And it looks good. It certainly looks better than GP4. It's probably the Formula game I have played the most. Yeah, it had 2001 season on, but they were quite active modding community for the game, so they usually released mods for every upcoming season, and I think even today there's still a group creating mods for Grand Prix 4, so I wouldn't be surprised if you can drive with the 2020 cars on it, although the game is now almost 20 years old, so graphics are not gonna get any better, so, or I'm not sure, maybe they have actually high definition textures nowadays, I don't know, I haven't played the game for a long time, but yeah, for 7 years old game this looks quite nice. Since I don't have gear indicator, it's rather difficult to know what gear I'm on. So let's see, it is maybe 4, 5, 6, or 7th, 6th. I should change to neutral to actually start the counting again. So I'll try to do that, so I'm gonna change to neutral. So this is neutral. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 gears, okay. 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, bit too fast there. And I have no driving aids on, so no traction control, no ABS, nothing. I want to play this as close to simulator as possible. It's weird to see that there's like so many people watching, even though I'm driving alone here. But, you know, they probably didn't want to waste coding for having different amount of people watching the session, depending on the selected mode. Or maybe there's some change. Maybe on race day there are more people in the crowd. Yeah, it seems that there's like halfway. Well, it's certainly better than what's currently the situation. No spectators allowed until the coronavirus is over. Pandemic. That's gonna take quite a long. I'm afraid that next year they're talking about doing 22 races next year, but I'm skeptical. I have a feeling that the pandemic is not gonna ease out, so they have to keep racing in Europe, or at least without spectators. And if they cannot have paying customers coming to the race sites, I'm not sure how many of the track owners will go to pay to Liberty Media, because they're not getting any money back from the from the ticket sales, so it's gonna be a huge problem next year as well. Sure about that. But maybe some flyaway races will happen. I'm not sure. Maybe people are like get tired of the pandemic, so they will start taking more risks. So it's gonna be like a tolerance that, okay, well, if there's like a 50 new cases of coronavirus, then they can race. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in Russia, because they are allowing people to get in, watch the race in Sochi. So it will be interesting to see how many new coronavirus cases will emerge. Of course, I think we cannot trust Russian authorities. They will say that no new cases have detected, but is that the reality? I don't know. They probably require everyone to wear masks and have some social distance rules, but yeah, I don't know. Frankly, I haven't even noticed the missing crowds. It doesn't. When you watch the race on television, it doesn't matter if there's spectators on site or not. As a matter of fact, it just distracts the race. They usually, at least in recent seasons, they have cut to the crowd when something exciting happens, and we have also missed a couple of exciting moments because the director cuts to the uploading crowds. So just actually a positive side that there are no distractions in the TV feed anymore. I'm sure in Russia they will show the crowd so very often that it will become a nuisance. Yeah, I haven't crashed, so this is, well, they tried to race in the mid April when the coronavirus crisis was on. They tried to do some esport races using Codemasters F1 game, but I think the drivers and other people also realized that this isn't like a proper simulator. So the races, I didn't watch any of the virtual races. I'm not a fan of virtual racing, even though you would guess that since I play games, I would watch other people's play as well, but that's not the case. So yeah, because it's not a simulator per se, it's kind of shenanigans and the physics and the coasting and I don't know, damage model and AI, and the whole game is, the whole code is a bit unreliable and not so accurate. So I think at least drivers playing Codemasters F1 games won't help them learn the circuits or anything. They have their own proper simulators. which are not available to the public. But yeah. But it seems that Codemasters have also received the message, and there was some talks about Codemasters trying to create a totally new game, or at least some simulation mode for the future games. So just like there's Colin McRae Rally or Dirt Rally, there's like that whole Dirt game that's more like a simulator. So we are yet to see if they can actually pull off a proper simulator in the future. It's gonna be a heck of a lot of work to actually try to make the game represent reality. I think Jeff Drummond has been the closest of reality, although nowadays even Grand Prix 4 feels like an arcade racer, but back then it was miles away from any of the Formula 1 games. And I think if Codemasters can do a proper simulator playing these games, these old games like this one, will at some day feel like kind of like silly at what kind of children's arcade racer this is, and I can believe that compared to real simulator, this game is like an arcade racer. First of all, it's very easy. If this was a real Formula 1 turbo car, I would have crashed already. But yeah, I'm driving this like I have always driven this, like a pro already. So easy to handle this car, which is not true. I think turbo-powered Formula cars were notoriously difficult to handle. So easy to crash, just like Group B rally cars were infamously difficult to handle. But you know, you have to make a game that is equally enjoyable to pro gamers as well as casual gamers. If you make a game too realistic, casual gamers will just give up and probably won't buy the game anymore ever. So you wanna have some nice driving modes for casual gamers that they can just they can just take the gamepad and start doing hot laps. And there's us who uses wheels and want to experience like Formula 1 car, because you know it's so expensive and rare to actually to get to test real Formula 1 car. I don't know if it's even possible unless you're a millionaire. Then of course you can just call Lewis Hamilton and ask him to arrange a testing day. But if you are not a millionaire, I don't think there are many chances in a lifetime to actually try out a real Formula 1 car. And I don't know if it's even wise thing to do, because you can actually kill yourself if you are driving too fast. There are of course those two-seater Formula 1 cars that you are just a passenger, but that's not the same thing. So at the moment, and probably in the future as well, games are the only option for experiencing Formula 1 cars, and if they are not up to par to real life, then it's just gonna be a disappointment. Although we are lucky that that games in general are so realistic already. So if you were a Formula 1 fan in the early 80s and you wanted to drive a Formula 1 car, well, you had some Formula 1 games, but they were like Atari 2600 games, so that's not very realistic. Then you got the pole position and you were like, oh my god, this is so real. No, it wasn't. So we are living a quite lucky era, because you can drive Ayrton Senna's old Lotus at Imola, and it looks good and it feels good, and even though it might not be 100% accurate, still better than not having any games. So yeah, let's do something else. Well, let's try to crash the car. Let's do something stupid. Let's crash at Tamburello and see what happens to Ayrton. Man, was there even damage on? Not sure. Yeah, I don't think there was damage on. How do you switch on damage? Sure. Maybe it's only available on a race or a weekend format, so you have to do whole championship. Yeah, there's no mention about damage, so I think it's gonna be option when you start the Grand Prix weekend. Okay. Okay, let's try a different circuit and different car. My name is Antsa Player, so it's only showing my surname if that's Player, so it's not default name. I just picked a name Antsa Player. Let's yeah, 1980 Williams. So who drove this one? I'm not sure. Maybe John Watson. It'd be interesting if there was like some history background. Some kind of like video or text mentioning about the history of the car and the drivers, etc. Let's do branch hats. you can actually drive on modern tracks using these old cars, so that's nice as well. Fortunately, there's no like real old cars. I would love to race on 60s Formula 1 cars, but I understand that getting these licenses for old cars is already a pain of a ass, so yeah. Okay. Car setup. Yeah, I don't know about this. Okay, well, branch hats. This is a proper old school circuit. I think it hasn't been changed since this car was raced in the 80s. So this is like very good choice for the car. I wish they would. Locked my brakes there. I wish they would race at branch hats Formula 1, because this is probably the best Grand Prix circuit in Great Britain. Much better than Silverstone. But you know, I think this couldn't be used today because it's not as safe as Formula 1 or FIA requires tracks to be, so they would need to do some modifications to the track, and if they would do that, then it wouldn't be an old school circuit anymore. So there's a dilemma of do you want to preserve the racetrack? If yes, then don't bring Formula 1 there, and if you want Formula 1 cars race there, then you're gonna have to destroy the circuit. So it's a sad thing. I wish they would just lower the requirements for tracks, so they would just polish the grade 1, grade 2 FIA track requirements, just race wherever they want it. But I don't know, maybe there's like a risk that if they allow Formula 1 cars race here, then someone gets up like a braking failure here. They will hit the barrier at 300 kilometers per hour, and there's gonna be like a fatal accident here. Then everyone will say that we told you so. So yeah, but you know, maybe if they had just more like the tech rope barriers put on, so maybe there was enough of tech rope barriers, they could race here without altering the layout, because this layout is so smooth, it's so fast, and there's no like stupid chicanes or like hairpin corners. So fast. This corner right here is so, yeah, it feels so great to, you can almost do it flat out. This one here almost flat out. It's not so flat out, but very fast corner, and with modern Formula 1 cars, with their superior downforce, this lap time would be quite low, actually. I think the average speed would be quite high, because this is the slowest corner, actually, this one. But the other corners are very fast. And I'm using a 1980 car, so obviously the downforce isn't as good as in modern cars. And even here, it's kind of terrifying, actually. So in 1980, the drivers and everyone, they were hugely brave, because they knew that if they crash, it might kill them. There were no safety features, no hands, no deck rope barriers, so they were nuts, but they were like gladiators of motorsport. They would risk their lives just for the sake of entertainment, because that's what sport is. Basically, it's nothing that's required for humans to live. It's not like food and shelter. It's just a pastime. It's hobby. It's culture. It's entertainment. And the drive 300 kilometers per hour with exploding engine right behind your back. That's crazy, but it's cool. So yeah, modern era. I wish I had been born earlier, so I could have seen these races. But I can at least watch the highlights and season reviews and race these old cars and old tracks on a simulator, or at least arcade racer. So yeah, Brands Hatch, probably one of my favorite circuits in old F1 calendar. I would say that Brands Hatch, Zandvoort, Suzuka, and Nordschleife, they are the best Grand Prix circuits in Formula 1 calendar ever. Of course, there were some 1950s weird long tracks like Old Spa, but that was a totally different era. If you're talking about 1970s or 1980s tracks, then I think Brands Hatch is probably among the best. And yeah, obviously there's also Pussy circuit. I'm not that familiar. I wish they had more classic tracks on this game, like Pussy and what else? Old Österreichring, current Red Bull Ring. That was also a nice track, very undulating track and nice hills and height differences. Bit like this one, This has also nice hilly sections. I hate that modern tracks nowadays, they are so flat. For example, Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, they have some artificial elevation changes, but they're so fake. Just don't create a hill and call it a racetrack. You have to find a place where the nature itself is hilly. So yeah, near the mountain or other highlands where you can find a nice and natural hills. So, and then you put your racetrack there, not the other way, because it's fake and it looks fake and it feels fake. But Brands Hatch, it doesn't feel fake, it feels natural. And same thing goes to Spa-Francorchamps. It feels natural, the height, the elevation, all is very pleasant. And as well as Red Bull Ring, it's just a beautiful scenery. I think all Formula 1 cars, Formula 1 tracks should be built on hilly mountains and not some flat like sand pit like modern tracks are nowadays. They just demolish everything and they dig a huge hole and they bring some gravel and then they mold the track in the gravel pit. So that's just, it makes all the tracks look same because they are so artificial. Yeah. It's a very pleasant car to drive. Not many mistakes so far. Let's try to do this all flat. Yeah, it's possible. What about this one? Well, you can cut the corner. What about this one? This one you cannot do as flat. Let's try it again. Yeah, they are not giving too much replay. It's like only 10 seconds at most. That's kind of disappointing. Maybe you can actually change it, I'm not sure. Okay, what else? We got Estoril and Jerez. Let's maybe do switch to 90s cars. Williams, these cars are bad. There's no McLaren, only Williams and Ferrari. Whatever, let's try 1992. This was driven by Nigel Mansell, who won the World Championship that year. Let's do Estoril. Estoril on wet. It's gonna be a challenge. I'm not sure if these cars were good at wet conditions. But, you know, those days they would they would race whatever the conditions. No crying about undrivable conditions. Just go and race. All right. I'm not very familiar with Estoril, so I need to take the first lap a bit slower. This track was never part of my childhood. The last year they raced at Estoril was 1996, and I wasn't following Formula 1 back then, so first corner. Okay. Then it's a quite long corner, quite fast actually. But this is slower. And another slow one, very slow one. Wonder if this is this has changed after 1996, or is this just the same layout that was used in the 90s? I know that there's like parabolica somewhere. It's probably the last corner. I don't know which circuit this reminds me of. The runoff area is quite narrow, so it's definitely old school circuit. Very slow sections here. Okay, is this the long one? Yes. Yeah. Reminds me a bit of like Barcelona, but no big runoff areas. Barcelona with short runoff areas. Maybe like Mexico as well. Mexico, you also had that long back parabolica. What's it called? I don't know. Oh, yeah. Come on. Well, at least now I have a gear indicator, unlike the 80s car. So that's helpful. The technology allows anything. Although I think there should have been LCD screens in the early 80s already. It's not like it's modern technology LCD screens. So maybe they were just like, we don't need blinking lights on a cockpit. Yeah, I don't know this circuit at all, so I really have to like concentrate here. Other circuit that this feels like is Hungaroring. At least those slow sections resembles Hungaroring. So it's like a mixture of Mexico, Barcelona, and Hungaroring. This corner. So easy to run wide. But yeah, I think yeah, they should have raced here this year. They're going to race in Portugal, but at the modern circuit, Portimao. So yeah, I don't know about that track. Is it good or not? We'll see. But it's modern, and this one is old. And if I would have to choose from old and modern circuit, I would definitely choose this one, because this is a real challenge. There are no proper runoff areas, so it's a punishing circuit. One mistake and you will lose the race. So yeah, I like tracks that punish you immediately, and not like modern tracks where you need detection loops and stewards and Michael Massey to decide what kind of penalty is suitable for going wide. The penalty should come with the track itself. If you go outside of the white lines, you will end up either in the gravel or into the tire wall. Of course, it should be safe, but you know, there's tech pro barriers, so it should be safe even with gravel and grass. That looks scary. It almost looks like that coast car is stalled there, so that would be a huge crash if I would hit stalled car. Okay, I think I'm getting faster now once I've learned the corners. Yeah, since this was used in 1996 last time, it wasn't any of the old Formula 1 car games I used to have, like F1 World Grand Prix or GP4 or GP3. So no wonder I'm not familiar with the layout. So only now I have to learn this track. Yeah, I really love this last corner. It's like Barcelona without that stupid chicane, or Mexico without that stupid stadium section. Oh my. Always decelerate there, even though it's not necessary. To remember it next time. It looks like it's gonna be a slow corner, but no, it's just a kink before a straight. Now you wanna get top speed early on, so you get the full speed at the main straight. Let's see how fast I can go. Almost 300, but not that fast. It's not like Monza where you would go 360 kilometers per hour. I will probably try these old cars with modern circuits as well. Try to race at Monza or Suzuka, and even modern tracks like Shanghai or circuits of the America. The recent news, I don't know if I talked about it in the last video, but it seems that Istanbul Park is about to be in the calendar again, and I'm not sure if I like the track. I always thought that it's kind of like another Tilkedrome with huge run-up areas and so on. But, you know, let's see. Times have changed, so maybe this time, and since it's in the November, maybe the weather will also help the races to be more entertaining. I remember that the races there weren't too good. Everyone says that they like the circuit. Turn 3 is so cool, but yeah, I'm not seeing anything special there. And yeah, I think some of the races were quite forgettable, like 2009. What happened in that year? Jenson Button won the race, but I think nothing else happened, so... Oh, almost crashed out. So I'm not that looking forward to the race there. I'm more looking forward to Mugello and Imola. They are gonna be interesting, for sure. So how many laps of fuel I have? Well, it hasn't run out just yet, so we'll see. Yeah, wet racing. They don't race in wet conditions anymore, which is sad. On the other hand, there are no wet races anymore. Seems like if it rains 2 kilometers from the circuit. They always say that rain is expected in 15 minutes. And then it never comes, so that always happens. Or maybe it just rains during the podium ceremony. That's almost a cliche in Formula 1, that the rain comes just after the checkered flag. Okay, lastly we got Ferrari 1999. It was a good car. I don't know if Michael Schumacher could have won the World Championship without the accident at Silverstone. We can never know, but yeah. Let's do another wet session. Yeah, it seems that we have had like only one wet race in the last 4 years or so. It was in Hockenheim last year, and the next one, the second latest wet race was in Brazil in 2016. So yeah, they're quite rare nowadays. It seems that every other racing category have wet races more often than Formula 1. But you know, let's see, this year they will race at Nürburgring in October, so it's bound to be wet. Okay. So Jerez. still another track that I'm not too familiar with. It was included in F1 World Grand Prix game I had for N64, since it was the last race of 1997 season. But in 1997, when it was last in the calendar, I wasn't Formula 1 fan just yet, so I have never watched any races taken place at Jerez. And sadly, I don't think they will race at Jerez this year, because it's gonna be like Imola and then 2 weeks, and Istanbul and then 2 weeks, and double header at Bahrain. So I would have hoped that they had Jerez in the calendar this year, but no. Although I'm not that big fan of Jerez, it's kind of lame. It's kind of slow. You can already tell that these corners are very low speed corners. It's totally different from Estoril and well, Brands Hatch. It's like a complete opposite of Brands Hatch. So yeah, this is more like a Mickey Mouse track. There are a couple of other Mickey Mouse tracks, like Indianapolis inner circuit, that was very Mickey Mouse. And then there's of course Hungaroring, the original Mickey Mouse track. And then there's current Imola. Of course it wasn't the Mickey Mouse track before 1995, but then it turned to a Mickey Mouse track. But yeah, this is a really Mickey Mouse track. So many slow corners, just one after another. It seems that there's no like need for a fifth and at least sixth gear. It's totally useless here. You need it only on the main straight, but after that, no use for sixth gear. So that's kinda lame. So maybe we should be grateful that Jerez is in the calendar this year. It's probably for the best. It wouldn't provide any great racing. The only thing that's good is that there's like old school gravel traps here. But you know, how often you see Formula 1 cars, Formula 1 drivers beach and get stuck. They spin so rarely. I think I haven't seen Lewis Hamilton spin out from the race at least for 10 years. So yeah, mistakes nowadays, they happen so rarely that it really doesn't matter what's outside of the white lines. Yeah, I have to say that I don't like this track. It's not meant for Formula 1 cars. It might be better with Formula 3 cars. Formula 1 or maybe Formula E cars, because those cars cannot do really high speeds. So it's probably if Formula E will one day go race at normal racing circuits, then these kinds of Mickey Mouse tracks would be a good choice. But for Formula 1, you wanna have tracks that allows the cars go 300 kilometers per hour, like Spa, like Monza, like Suzuka. You want to have a big straights where they can accelerate to the top speed, and then you want to have high-speed corners like R130 and Placimont or Parabolica or Curva Grande that really show the speed of Formula 1 cars. This track doesn't really show the best of Formula 1 cars. But yeah, well, at least I can hear the V10 engine. Sounds good. I miss this sound. I wonder if I can do the whole now. It would be interesting to do the whole season using only these classic cars. Because yeah. But luckily this is F1 2013, so there are gonna be V8 engines on every car in the grid, so it's gonna sound at least better than current cars. Let's try to crash. Geronimo! Wait a second, did I damage the car? Because I was saying that there's no damage on. No, there is no damage. There was no damage on my car. Okay. So, yeah. I'm gonna quit now. And I will say thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.